warm welcome to all our panelists. Thank you so much for joining us here this afternoon. And if I could hop to that chair so that I could actually welcome. Grow Right Initiative. And here we are in the midst of mommy bloggers and friends from media who have a lot of questions for sure. That will be answered a little later. But there are a few questions that I would like to ask, before we open the floor for the Q&A. And, as they say, that childhood is a period of rapid growth and development. And Dr. Sanklesha, I would like to start with you first. That there are so many different phases that we've been taught and told that this is the important phase of life, this is the important phase of life, teenager, yeah, adult hote hain. But they say that toddler, especially the 2 to 6 phase of life, is the foundation of a child's growth.
I think every phase of life has its own issues and own critical areas. When it comes to the toddler between 2 and 6, I think it's an opportunity that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Either you do it right or it's lost for a lifetime. So whether it comes in terms of nutrition, it comes in terms of behavioral handling, it comes in terms of growth. So there is what is called a critical period of growth. And this growth does not apply just to the physical growth in terms of height, in terms of weight. It also applies to the overall development of the child, be it in terms of his intelligence, be it in terms of his overall grounding as a person. So either you do it right at that time or the opportunity is lost for a lifetime, and hence it's called a critical period.
Yeah, and Dharini, in this development, nutrition plays a very important role. And, all of them would agree. And, there's a lot of confusion that actual right amount of nutrients are being provided for my child or not.
Yeah, there's a little confusion where the highest growth is 0 to 6 months. So mothers are very apprehensive and want the same growth continuing all life. That cannot happen. After 1 year, there's a steady, slow reduction in the growth. So the total nutrients have to be provided in a very small space, and we need all the 5 food groups there, and protein is very important. Because a lot of convenience foods are used, there is no vegetable, no fruit and protein in the diet. So we have to concentrate on these 3 major things. Whether vegetarian or non-vegetarian, you can suffice what the child needs. I just want to say that there's no special food for a child. After year 1, the child has to eat what the family is eating, then automatically the nutrients are balanced.
Thank you. Would I request...
Can I just come in on that?
Yeah, for sure.
So what you asked about the 2 to 6 years is very important. We all know that the birth and the period around birth is critical. So I just like to compare it to a simile. It's like taking the ship out of the dock or the harbor, the first 2 years of life. But then you need to set it on the course it will going to take for the next few days. And that's the 2 to 6 year age group. I think that's why it's very important.
And sometimes you have to go against the tides and make it work. Yeah. So I request our friends from the media there, if you're a little silent so that you can concentrate. Thank you so much, boys. Thank you. The Grow Right Charter, Samir would like to ask you is that, all of you have defined and put in your contribution to get this Grow Right Charter together. Would you want to tell us a little more about the charter and how this can help toddler parents across the country today?
So Dr. Mukesh, myself, Dr. Dharini, I'm sure we know the questions that moms ask us when they do come in for these visits. Very often, the kids are unwell, so maybe that's not a very good time to discuss in detail. But we do know that one of the things that really, really worries the mom is whether the child is eating right, is developing right, the growth is normal, the development is going on well, the behavior is all right. So I think there's a lot of knowledge out there today, and there's too much of information, but we need to collate it and hand it over in a way that a person can take it and apply it in daily life. And I think that's what was important to do with Abbott, what we did. All of us got together and we discussed, brainstormed, and we came out with this charter, which is like a very handy tool for an extremely busy mom, we understand how that is, or for a busy parent rather. So that it's very easy for you to use this to chart your course with your child. And it was a wonderful experience doing this all together, wasn't it, Mukesh?
Absolutely. And if you go back to our medical training, it trains us a lot about disease. But unfortunately, this is an area that is relatively untapped. So what we thought is we'll bring out something very simple, easy to understand, and more importantly, easy to enforce. So what we did is we put down a few steps that the mothers could use in concrete terms. Now, unfortunately, what happens is when a parent is faced with a problem, they go online, and apart from what is medically accurate in terms of the information coming in, there is 10 times more stuff which is unfiltered and on which even the parent or the mother does not know whether she can rely on it or not. So we thought we'll bring science and simplify it so that it can be used in everyday rearing of the child.
Absolutely. As you said, so much information is available online in today's day. You know, thank you. Just type in and you, at your fingertips, you've got so much information. At times, we've ourselves become doctors on that.
Yeah, there's a WhatsApp University of Knowledge.
Yeah, true. That keeps sending forwards about, you know, charts about what to eat, what not to eat, and we have no clue. So gets us a little clueless.
I
at times.
plead guilty to that.
So, Lara, my question to you is: with so much information coming in as a parent, how do how do we actually confirm that it's coming from a credible source?
No, exactly. So, I was saying this to the doctors backstage. I think one of the key reasons for me to say yes to events like this is because as a mother, I know how difficult it is to get an appointment with the doctors, be it a nutritionist or a pediatrician. So here I get all my questions answered. I have the best of the experts on the panel. It takes care of all my questions, with everything that I need seen to. But you're right, Sachin, because as a mom, the first thing, I think the day that you find out that you're actually pregnant and are going to become a mother, the first thing that you do is you turn to your best friend, which unfortunately today has become Google. And everything is looked at. The child is running a fever, my kid isn't eating her beans, what should I do? Everybody turns, because at the end of the day, there is such an information overload today. The fantastic thing is that there is so much information out there. But it's such an overload that it is very difficult to understand what really comes from a credible source, or it doesn't. And I think for me, over the years with my daughter, I've learned, so between this panel, as you can see, I feel like I've grown in stature today because I'm being part of this initiative and being part of the guild. But these are the experts in the field, and I'm the lab rat, right? Because I'm the mother who actually puts all of this into play. But nothing vouches better than experience. So as a mom raising a kid, raising exactly, a child between the ages that we're talking about, I mean, I've been through the gamut of everything that you could possibly go through. And finding, one source to go to. So I think it's fantastic to actually have an initiative like this, the Abbott's Grow Right initiative, and having the charter and the guild come together. And like the doctors are saying, having a one-stop shop to go to that gives you very clear guidelines of dealing with children during this age group. And it's an invaluable source, which I am pretty sure that mothers today in India will find, will be so, just to have points that, okay, this is what I need to do, this is where I need to go. That said and done, every child is different, so you might have guidelines that come down, but how do you implement that with each child? Because each child relationship is absolutely different. But I think if you have, and I think today what moms will gather is, what are those guidelines? How are they implemented? How are they adapted? And so I'm all ears. I'm very happy to be part of this and provide as much practical, experience as I can.
Hi. We have 2 kids, and I really tried the baking stuff, and it really works. I'm going to go back and make Bindi today with my kid with the hope that she'll, pick up. So my question to you is, as a mother, I'm always paranoid. I don't know where to stop. Like, what is really right nutrition and where should I stop? Because after Bindi is going to be jawar ka roti and oats and stuff. So what is it that you follow? And where do you think that my child, Shaira, has been fed well and she's getting the right nutrition? And my second question to you, doctor,
Mike, a little closer.
My second question to you, doctor, is how can Pediasure help with low immunity? Because my children fall sick so often, despite me thinking that they're eating healthy. So these are the 2 questions I'd like to know.
So I think Dr. Samir said something a little while ago, and that's so true, that none of our children are going to die of hunger. This is for sure. And today I find that you have fewer and fewer kids who come to you asking for food, saying, Mama, I'm hungry, can I have something to eat? Invariably, it's the mother asking, Beta, kuch khaoge? I'm not hungry, Mama. Nahi, but you eat this because it's time now. So we're so dictated to, forget about our kids, even for us, we're so dictated dated to, what has been, sort of inundated into us. Breakfast time, eat your breakfast. Lunch time, eat your lunch. Dinner time, eat your dinner. Regardless of whether you feel full, the body has digested your food or not. And I think, honestly, I have learned, maybe from looking at what my parents inculcated, which again goes back to one of the points on the charter about, the right impact, how you impact the life of your child, how your choices, your behavior impacts the, the choices that your child makes. So for them, my mom and dad were very clear, exactly that. Ki if you're not going to eat at the time that this is given to you, you can eat 2 hours later, but the same food will be given to you. You're not going to get anything else. So I think for us to find, today the problem is that it's become very easy. Accessibility to foods has become very easy, even for us as parents. Therefore, we're not so worried. Acha beta ye nahi khayega, chalo I'll try 3 other things and see, that they will eat something, as long as there's food going into them, as long as the child is not hungry, So this for us has become like a kind of a brainwashing ki bachcha ko bhuka mat raho, the stomach is full, it means it's a healthy child. Today, to be very honest, my serving of food to Saira, what goes on her plate is really, again, built from a point of view, not just nutrition, but also building up immunity. Living in a city like Mumbai, you find the kids, falling sick more often, being exposed to a lot more, viral infections, things like that. So again, finding foods that build immunity. And I find sometimes that it's impossible to get that all through just the food on the plate of the child, though it's very possible. But again, we're living in a world where the food itself is, today not the same quality, does not have the same, that same plate does not have the same nutritional value as it did when our parents were eating it. Today with whatever chemicals are being put into the food to grow, to your vegetables, all of that, that nutritional value, I don't even believe is half the amount of what our parents got eating that exact same thali. So sometimes you do need to supplement it, whether it is with a vitamin, whether it is with, natural therapy, whatever you choose that works for you and your child. But I find that when mothers stress themselves out because we've been given a ideal to live up to कि Mrs. Patel की बेटी क्लास में first आती है, वो घर पे ये खाती है, ये whatever. So we feel that we've got to live up and match up to the Joneses and make sure that our children. But when that's exactly what we're saying, Grow Right initiative. Each child is different, and stop stressing. I mean, I've heard this so many times. Bachcha paida hua hai, first visit to the pediatrician, come back so proud. Oh, doctor says she's in the top, percentile of height and weight and, whatever. What? Why would you do that to yourselves? But the fact of the matter is that we all do it like robots, like machines. So it takes working against the grain. It takes tuning into your child. It takes tuning into yourself as a parent. Find what works for you. I mean, I had no choice. My husband was a professional player. I had to take my daughter and get her on tour when she was 2 months old. If I had to follow things by all the different books that are written, I would have driven myself absolutely stark raving mad. I had to find what worked for my child and what worked for me and what was simplest to follow. And simplest to follow, but that doesn't mean that it was easy then to throw her a burger and a pizza for every meal, but just to keep that flexibility and to give your child, honestly, give your child responsibility. You will be amazed at the results that it produces.